It's populating. Setting up your meeting, and we're on. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this conversation. I'm Rick Reese, a health coach with HMR for a long time. And joining me tonight, I have Shane, who has helped me to co-host many of these events. Shane, how are you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm great, Rick. Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming and joining us tonight.
Yeah, really appreciate you guys tuning in. Joining us, we have Crystal and Gary. Hey, guys, how are you doing tonight?
Great. Couldn't be better. Thanks for having us this evening.
Yeah, awesome. So glad to have you here. It's interesting. I'm going to say it right up front. There's a real connection between the three of you that might help to make this event a little bit more unique than others. And we're going to detail this out throughout the conversation that we have here. But just to summarize it, Crystal, I think back in 2014, you had some amazing success with the HMR program. We're going to hear about that. And your success actually inspired Shane to join the program. And you went on, Shane, to amazing success. And then Gary, I know you had a chance to observe Shane's experience over the months and years with the program. And here you are in the program, I think actively right now in the weight loss phase. And from what I've heard, I think it's going pretty well so far. So there's this line of succession between the three of you that's really, really cool. And we'll want to sort of get into that. You never know who you're going to inspire when you're practicing healthy habits, when you're losing weight, when you're being a positive role model. It's just so motivating and inspiring. And that really is the theme here, motivation and inspiration. We're here in January, guys, and how many people are saying, this is it, I'm going to lose some weight, I'm finally going to do it. Maybe some other people are thinking, I need to get back on track or get back in action. So we're going to be revisiting this theme of motivation and inspiration really throughout January. We're sort of kicking it off here with this particular foursome. So we hope that this conversation will be helpful to all of you. So Shane, you had really sort of been the author of this idea. Tell me a little bit about what you are hoping to accomplish here. And I'm going to just see if I can pull up the comments to see who's joined us so far.
Oh, sure. I hope there's a lot of folks joining in, and please comment along the way, say hello, tell us where you're at, where you're from, and maybe what phase you're in, or if you're just starting, welcome to the group. So yeah, Rick, I came up with this idea mainly because there have been a few people out there that said that I kind of helped inspire them along the way or gave them some extra pat on the back. And, a few weeks ago we had Sharon and Gwen, and Sharon was a big inspiration to me early on as well from our clinic.
Yes, but vice versa. She said you inspired her, Sharon. And Sharon, if you're joining, hi.
Yeah.
Oh, Shane.
Got some news about Sharon and I both here shortly. So.
Oh, cool.
Remind me about that. But I had to really bring it back to when I first went to the clinic and I watched the orientation video. Mm-hmm. And, of course I saw Chuck. Chuck is amazing. He was a client originally. Now he's the center director. He's lost over 100 pounds himself, and he lives in the box every day. He's one of the most compassionate people and passionate people about HMR that you'll ever meet. But, Chuck's amazing story. And then it followed in the orientation meeting with Crystal. I had to bring Crystal out and show you guys and let her meet you and let you meet her. Just an amazing person all the way around. But her story really hit home with me. It really resonated. And I'm not going to spoil any of this story for you. I'm going to let her tell you. But Rick, thank you for facilitating this and getting us all four together. There have been a few people that said that I helped inspire them. There have been people that have done their own thing along the way. Gary happened to choose to do the HMR program. He's had some great success in it. And so it was kind of when I coined the domino effect. It started out with Crystal and watching her lose her weight and the success that she had in the long term. And then I went to me, and then there's other people, and now Gary. So I kind of coined it the domino effect. You never know who you're going to help, who you're going to inspire. Yes. There are folks all across the country. I believe that we talked about Sharon White, who was also on a Facebook Live with you. And that's she's right. she's on the West Coast, and she said that some of the things that we talked about here really resonated with her and really inspired her. So that's the whole concept.
It's totally awesome. I loved the idea right when you pitched it. Fantastic. Hope you guys who are watching enjoy the conversation here. And speaking of which, I want to say hi to some of those folks. So Carol from Florida. Hello, Susan. Susan, we're going to get you on one of these events. You are one of our regulars. Marlene, Luis, so good to see you here. Nancy, also a regular. Kelly, hello. Gina. Oh, well, Gina, guess what? Next week, Gina is going to be my co-host. So
All
Gina,
right.
yeah, she's a fellow health coach. She'll be joining me and she'll have two of her clients on. So Gina, so glad you're here. Can't wait to have that event with you next week. Bernice, Sandy, Tanya. Boy, there are a lot of names here. Dave, I have to say hi to Dave Moore. Shane, he's joined us.
My man, Dave.
Yep.
Hey, Dave.
Rachel, Susan G, Amanda. Wow, a lot of people here. I'm not sure I can go through all the names. I want to get right to the content. But guys, thank you for joining us. And as always, I'm going to be asking some questions of people's experience in the program with my guests. And I'm going to invite you to answer those same questions. We want this to be as rich a conversation as possible. And you are right here in the room with us. So please answer those questions in the comment section as we go along here. All right, so let's get into it. Crystal,
Yes.
You and I and Shane had a chance to connect earlier this week. And I just can't tell you what a great conversation that was. It was so awesome.
It was.
To use a phrase that my brother Bill, who's also been a health coach with HMR for over 30 years, he once in a while will talk about the people he works with in the program, and he uses the term joie de vivre, if I'm saying it right, a joy of life. And I have to say, Crystal, it just comes out when you speak, not to put pressure on you.
That's what I was going to say. You guys are really building me up here. So,
So let's start with you. Your story is really compelling. And, normally we don't spend a whole lot of time talking about the quote unquote dark days, but you were able to just explain what life was like for you then, and then what life is like for you now. And if I could sort of put a headline to it, it was your soundbite during our conversation. It was so powerful. You talked about you are now living life now versus just simply surviving days. So what a soundbite that is. Extraordinary. If those of you watching, if you feel like that resonates from your experience, please give a check, give a smile, make a comment. And Crystal, take us through it a little bit. What was going on with you? And Shane, you've watched and talked to her a good deal. So please feel free to ask any additional questions here. So take it away, Crystal.
Sure. Thanks so much for the introduction, Rick. And you're right. I did have some dark days. It was life was a struggle for me, and I was surviving days. I started the HMR program in April of 2014, and I was at a really low point in my life. I struggled with most daily activities. I was 36 years old and weighed around 369 pounds. That was the apex of my weight. And I had a terrible back. And I was seeking surgery for my back from my neurosurgeon because I was in a ton of pain. Daily activities were impossible for me. I couldn't sit for long periods of time. I couldn't do basic things for myself. At one point, I was unable for about 2 years or so to even put on my own socks and shoes. It was a really tough place. I was on 6 different medications, 2 of which were for blood pressure. One I'd been on for over 10 years, and I took it twice a day. And I was 36 years old. And so I went to my neurosurgeon. I said, "You guys have got to do something. I can't live in this pain." And he said, "Unfortunately, there's not a lot I can do for you." He said, "You are so heavy that I don't think my surgical instruments will even reach your spine." He said, "You need surgery and it's apparent, but I can't help. You've got to lose 100 pounds before I can really do anything." And I said, "But what about the pain?" And he said, "I'm so sorry." And I said, "Well, I can't do, most act." And he said, "I'm so sorry. There's nothing that I can really do to help except for try and control the pain." And so it was a really hard place for me, because here I was in this really tough spot, and I didn't feel like I had any options out. And I had tried weight loss my whole life. I'd been heavy my whole life, and I had tried everything. I had tried, counting calories. And I even did this one diet that I tell people about, where I only ate cereal. And it was just, you name it, I did the diet. And none of them were ever successful. Or I'd lose 20 pounds and then gain back 30. And it was really challenging. So I found HMR. I was surfing the internet and came across it. And there's a clinic, a local clinic. And I went to the orientation because I thought, what do I have to lose, right? I've tried everything else. And so I went and I sat in orientation. And Chuck, as we talked about earlier, Chuck's the director there at Milestone, where I was a member of the HMR program. And I say this all the time, don't ever tell Chuck this to his face, but Chuck saved my life. Right. He saved my life that day. So I remember.
Crystal,
yeah.
Just one quick question, just to back up for a second, to put an explanation point on this, the dark days.
Yeah.
During the dark times, the worst of it, when your surgeon told you that he couldn't perform surgery, did you feel that your days were numbered at that point?
Yeah, I don't know that I realized it at the time, but I certainly do now. I have no doubt in my mind that had I not found HMR and experienced success in weight loss and got healthy, I have no doubts that I'm not certain I'd be here today. I had so many health conditions and so many health challenges. I'm not sure I would be here today. It was a really tough time. And HMR gave me that life back. And it gave me back a life worth living. Started the program. Yeah, me too. Me too. And I started the program in April, and I was actually mostly trying to prove Chuck wrong, because he said he'd help me lose weight. And I said, I've done everything. You're not going to do this. There's no way you're going to help me lose weight. I've done all these things. And he said, no, you just do what I tell you to do. And you're going to lose weight, I promise. And so I trusted him, and I trusted in the program, and I started in April of 2014. And by September of 2014, I'd lost 100 pounds. And so I went back to my neurosurgeon and I said, I've lost 100 pounds. And he said, oh my gosh, you did. He said, what did you do? And I said, I found this program, HMR, and I've been losing weight, and it's not hard. I don't have to, have a math degree to calculate points and do all these crazy things. I just eat food, and I do what they tell me to do. And it's so easy to follow. And the weight just fell off. And he said, well, how do you feel? And I said, actually, I think I feel a little better. And he said, then let's not talk surgery yet. He said, let's keep going. And so I kept in the program and kept going. And by January of that next year, 2015, I was down almost 200 pounds. And I went back to see the neurosurgeon. And I said, I've lost another 100 pounds. And he said, oh my gosh, you've lost another 100 pounds. He said, what in the world? So he said, how are you feeling? And I said, I feel great. I'm going grocery shopping. I'm doing all these things, and I don't have a ton of pain. And he said, oh my gosh. He said, then let's not do surgery. Let's see how it goes. And
right.
This is the last day I met with my neurosurgeon. And I've not had surgery. Since then, I've gone off of all of my medication. My blood pressure is completely controlled. I have no cholesterol issues. Blood sugar is amazing. And I'm now living life.
Absolutely.
I am not surviving days, but living life.
So good. I want to give you some feedback here from the community. Sandy, such a powerful story. Crystal, Gina, my co-host for next week. Wow. So amazing. Such an inspiration, Crystal. The comments are just coming in. What a great job you've done. I think let me put a stake in the ground here and take a moment and share my screen. I have a photo of you, Crystal, that you were kind enough to share with me, if I could share with the group.
Sure.
Let me just pull that up. So here you are. Can you guys see that? Just make sure.
Yeah, we can see it.
Yeah. And there's the joy of the I was talking about. Look at that Superman shirt coming through. That's really just
Love it. Love it.
Love it. Really, really good.
That
Um,
was Halloween in 2015. So it was October 2015, a little over a year after I'd been in the program, and I was loving life then. I was thinner than I'd ever been in my entire adult life. Still thinner than I've been my entire adult life, and just really enjoying life.
Really good. Lydia says, "Oh my, Crystal, love you." And she also followed it up with, "You ready for this? Chuck says hi to all."
Ah!
Oh,
Hello,
Chuck's watching.
I think
Chuck's
Chuck is
watching.
the eye in the sky. If you're a Lord of the Rings fan, like the Eye of Sauron is always watching.
Exactly.
We're gonna come back to Chuck here. Also, Donna Reed also says hi to Chuck too. So that's really great. Really good to give Chuck his props here. Thank you for sharing, Crystal. So generous. Cheryl says, really superwoman. Oh, it just keeps going here. You'll have to watch this later for all the comments. Crystal's
I
really
will.
just
Thank
a
you all so much.
So speaking of Chuck, can I share one other photo?
Yeah.
One that really sort of struck me. And maybe you can tell us a little bit about what's behind this photo. Let me just click on it here. Wow, now tell there's Chuck. So tell us a little bit about this photo, if you would.
So that's Chuck, and we're both wearing my pants. So, which was a great day. So I did an event at Milestone there and talked a little bit about my story, and I brought my pants in for show and tell. And so those pants are the pants that I wore to that very first orientation with Chuck. I couldn't even sit through the whole orientation. I told them, hey, I'm going to have to sit for a few minutes and stand and sit. And Chuck said, I don't care if you sit or stand or do both, or it doesn't matter. You just stay and hear the message, right? And so I did. And those were the pants I wore. And they were a size 64 waist.
Mm-hmm.
I had my belt and I took it in. And so, and then even after the event, I told Chuck, I said, I can't believe I wore these pants. It's hard to believe now. And I said, I think both of us would probably fit into them. And he said, let's give it a try. So we did. And we did. We both fit in. So
just awesome. Just so awesome. Really, really cool. All right, let me get us all back here. Beautiful photo. A lot of comments there. Again, please make sure to look at the feed there.
Chuck was an amazing coach, though. He was really, I think, one of the big keys to my success, because he provided me exactly what I needed. He tailored his approach to me. Yes. I needed someone who was going to be hold me very accountable, who was going to also, though, be kind and compassionate and lead me in the right way, but keep me accountable. And he was almost militant with me because he knew I needed that. I needed that hard line. And that's exactly what helped me stay on track. Understand that I had support and that I had someone who was understanding and cared about me. I know to this day, if I call Chuck for anything, he'll be right there. He's just that kind of human, and he was a key to my success, along with all my classmates. You know, being able to go and share your story with people who live that same story, because my story is not unique.
Yes.
We've all been in those spots, in those places, right?
Yeah.
And to be able to share in that with people, it's huge.
Yeah, actually, I want to pivot off of that or extend off of that. That's such a good point. I would ask the audience, and people are just lauding you, just wonderful comments. Oh my, 2 people in 1 pair of pants. Really great. This is amazing, et cetera, et cetera. I have to lose 200 pounds, et cetera. So, John, you're in the right place. Someone who just said that. But just extending off what you just said, which is that your experience, while that's your experience, in many ways, it's sort of a shared experience, right? Everyone has their dark days before they get to the point where they said, I've had enough and I need to make a change, or I need to make changes. I would ask our audience, if that resonates with you, if you had your dark days and you remember what your experience was like, and you said, because of this, I am ready to make some substantial changes. And I know many of you in the audience, and I know many of you have your reasons, or Chuck, to use, Shane, to use your phrase, your why. I'd love to hear, what is your why from the audience, just to extend off of, again, what Crystal shared. Shane, I'll have you recap yours. Gary, you as well. Why what had you join the program? What is your why for taking on this endeavor, which is not easy, but it's worth it, as it's so clear just hearing you speak, Crystal. It's just so awesome.
Oh, she did amazing in just a year. I mean, the Superman, that was awesome. And that was 12 months into the program. So for those of you that may be new, joining us for the first time, welcome again. Please comment. But, we're talking about HMR, and it's a very structured phase 1 program initially, and then there's a phase 2 program. But, Crystal was talking about Chuck really pushed the militant side and got her to stay in the box.
Yeah.
That's where you stay within the parameters of the HMR program 100%. Now, that also resonated with me. If I was going to do it, I was going to make the program show me that it worked.
Yes.
So I jumped in with both feet, also with, the health coaching, the same health coaching that Crystal got, and jumped in with both feet and stayed in that box 100% for the first, however long it was, until I went into phase 2. I was in the box 100%.
Yes.
For those of you, this might be your first time here with us. My name is Shane again, and I joined the Milestone HMR program back in May of 2017, because Crystal was a great inspiration, and Chuck and different people. But so about 12 months into it, when I walked in the door, when I walked in the door, I was at 352 pounds. I also had many dark days. There's videos that we've posted in the past. Look up the one, Know Your Why.
Yes.
It talks about a lot of my dark days.
Yep.
Very dark times.
Great conversation that was.
I had a 6-year-old at the time. Being a little bit older father, I wasn't able to be the dad that I should be. I wasn't able to be the husband that I should be. I wasn't able to be the friend or the brother or the anything that I should be. And it got to the point where I was being a burden on part of the family. I was still mobile. I didn't have a lot of the health issues that some folks do have. I was on blood pressure medication, but I was looking at maybe not making it to 50. It's 47 years old, and I was looking at not hitting 50, and I didn't have a way out.
Crystal, can you imagine that, Shane attributes, I think, Shane, I'm sure there are other factors, but Crystal's at the top of the list of what had you flip the switch and say, I'm going to do this.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the way that she did what she did, I mean, it proved to me that somebody could do it. And I knew that I was coming from a very similar place.
Yep.
There are plenty of people that don't have that much weight to lose, but there are folks like us who are morbidly obese and this is a lifesaver. If you put the effort into it, it will change and save your life.
Yep.
I'm off the medication. She's off her medication. I'm a much better person all the way around. Gary could probably attest to this because we worked together at some point in time. But, I was always nice and friendly, but I'm a little more outgoing now. People's perception of you at a larger weight factors in a lot also.
It changes. It's really, I'm glad you mentioned that, Shane. That's a huge point to make. I gained so much confidence from my weight loss, and I also noticed I'm a really extroverted person, if you can't tell, and I also am very friendly. I tell people all the time I could probably talk to that wall over there for a good half hour. And in the grocery store, I noticed at a normal weight, at a typical weight, right? People treat me differently now than they did then. I get different reactions from people in public than I used to. And that has changed the way I feel about myself. It's changed the way that the confidence that I have, and you're 100% right. That was a huge part of it that I didn't even really uh, think about until I could see myself at a typical weight. It took a long time for me to get there, but you're 100% right. That confidence, the way you feel about yourself, you're more outgoing, you're more friendly, you're more engaged. 100%.
That's an awesome comment about the social impact of
Yeah.
taking the
It's just
risks in your lifestyle.
there's social stigmas about overweight folks that are not
Mhm.
always true. They're not always true. There's many factors that contribute to being obese and overweight. But just to wrap up my story, about 14, 15 months into it, I'd lost 160 pounds, and happily have been maintaining that for quite some time now. So Crystal, thank you. When I visited you at the clinic, I gave you a big hug, and at some point in time we'll be able to do that again. But
Yes.
you're definitely one of my heroes, and thank you so much. And
You're
thank
one of
you for
mine
being here.
too, Shane.
Shane, may
That
I,
motivation, I think, keeps us all the way around, right? You're
Right.
you're also an inspiration to me because, uh, you know, just losing the weight's part of the battle. Like maintaining that loss, right, is the
Mhm.
secondary part. And
Yes.
you've been maintaining for many years now. I've been maintaining my loss now for about 5 years or so,
Mhm.
and there are still days where it is really challenging, and I'm not gonna lie, there's still like every meal is really challenging sometimes. Right? And seeing your success and hearing your story, it in turn keeps me motivated. It reminds me of my why, right? And it
Yes.
keeps me focused and keeps me fueled. So thank you, sir.
Guys, that's why we're doing this. And that's why this is the theme for January. It's motivation and inspiration are so important. It helps you to keep the ball rolling. Shane, I can't let you share your story like that without just taking a minute to just put up a picture of your success. Um, Many people are familiar with it just
Wow.
because we have so many regulars who join us for our events here. But I'm assuming there are some people, certainly after the fact, there are people who have no idea about what you've done in the program. So here you are. And
Yep.
Shane, I could just ask you, when you mentioned Emily, she's actually joined us at the end of some of these episodes, your daughter.
Yeah.
You've said before, you're a better dad, you're a better husband. And that was something that, our fellow health coaches, Sandy and Jennifer, had talked about a few weeks ago, where sometimes you can feel selfish prioritizing your own weight when you have a family and a busy life, your own lifestyle. Like, I need to go get my exercise, or I need to eat my food to support my success. Can you talk about how ultimately, if you go up in the big picture, it's not being selfish, it's actually being a better dad or a better husband or whatnot? What would you say
Well,
about that?
I have to tell you, first of all, Emily picked out those swim trunks. There are unicorns, I think, on it, like unicorn floats and some other stuff that she picked out. But anyway, that was my reward trip for losing 100+ pounds. My wife said we would go on a cruise, so we went on a cruise. So that was me on a beach in the Bahamas, and she snapped that picture. But
Tremendous.
no, I mean, there was a point made a couple of weeks back, like you said, that you can't really do your best to take care of other people if you're not taking care of yourself first. And that, it sounds selfish, but it's really true. And that's another part of the domino effect.
Mhm.
It's not only just the people, but it's the people that you surround and that surround you. You affect them every day as well. So
Absolutely.
the domino effect goes out from there as well. So you've got, you're focusing on you and your health, and you're being a better person, a better employee, a better father, mother, grandmother, grandparent. Um, yeah, it goes out from there. I don't know if a domino effect would be good, or like throwing a stone into a puddle and watching the ripples come out, and the effect that it makes. It's far reaching, and you don't know where it's going to stop.
Incredible. Just great. Really, really good. Yeah, it's not selfish to prioritize yourself. Crystal, as you talk about the dark days, if you're dealing with dark days, you're not at your best. As much as you love your family and are trying to be your best, it's hard to be the most powerful version of you, if we can say it that way.
Yeah.
So you put the healthy lifestyle on the front burner. you take the reins on your weight and your health management. Crystal, what would you say about that in terms of how you show up in your life? You can talk about that yard project if you want.
Yeah, I am. I'm a much better friend. I'm a much better spouse. I am a much better daughter to my amazing mother, and I am a much better employee. All of those things, right? Mostly because I'm engaged and I have energy and I feel good about myself and I feel good as I go through the day, right? I'm not worrying about pains, worrying about challenges, worrying about going to some, event where I might not fit in the chairs or in all of those anxieties that sort of resonate, right? I am a much better person. And I feel better, right? I feel better in general and also about myself. And I was posting on my personal Facebook page a few weeks ago, or a few days ago, rather, at the beginning of the new year, kind of what 2020 meant to me. And Shane, talks about that why. And I got to explore my why a little differently in 2020. And one of the ways that I did that was I bought a new house, and it's a house built in 1940, and it needs some work. And so I focused on that throughout COVID, having more time at home and less social activities going on. And one of the things that I did was this summer for my birthday, my wife said, "What do you want to do for your birthday?" And I said, "I think I want to excavate and pave the side yard." And she said, "You want to spend your 3-day weekend doing what?" And I said, "Yeah, I want to." And I couldn't really figure out why, right? Like I wanted to do it. It was like driving passion to do it. And I couldn't figure out why. And it took me a while to figure it out. But eventually it struck me. It was like the sheer definition of my why. So 6 years ago, I couldn't put on my own socks. And this summer in June for my birthday at 41 years old, in the best shape of my life, I got up at 6 in the morning and was out in my yard until dark every night, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night for 3 straight days. I dug a hole 6 inches deep, 30 feet long, 5 feet wide. I poured topsoil and I hand tamped it. I excavated the whole thing by hand, no tools or no automated tools, no backhoes. I dug up trees. I did all of that by myself and paved this amazing side yard. I'm talking 25, 50 pounds of gravel, bags on my shoulders. I laid 197-pound pavers by hand, right? And I did that for 3 full days. And
That's
6 years ago, I couldn't put on my own socks. And so it was just such the sheer definition of my why, right? That accomplishment, that feeling of accomplishment, that feeling of just gratitude for health. It made my birthday. And at 41 years old, I'm in the best shape of my life. And I owe it really to Chuck and HMR and my classmates like Sharon Horn and Shane here. You guys are amazing and have helped me in that journey.
Living life, Crystal. Living life
Rick,
for surviving days. Well done.
Rick, I'm sure that we're getting some comments.
Yeah, I wanted to comment. I have a couple here lined up. The first is I had asked, as you guys both shared some of the lower points prior to losing the weight, if others listening if that resonated. And someone who I work with every week, she's in the process of an amazing weight loss, Jennifer. Jennifer, thank you for being a regular every week, every Thursday night with us here, but also just thank you for letting me partner with you in your journey. Her dark days, as she described, definitely over a year ago, I was well on my way from having my walker to being in a wheelchair. And then kind of touching on this other theme where you never know who's watching you following through on your commitment and the impact that it has. Dave Moore here has commented to you, Crystal. My wife met you the day we signed up. Thank you for your inspiration.
Thank you so much, Dave. Thank you so much.
Really good. And then are you ready for this from Robin, Crystal? Crystal, you shared your story with me when I was first starting HMR. I knew right there this was going to work for me. I'm almost down 40 pounds. I'm going strong. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you, Robin. Good luck in your journey.
Tremendous. And then
Amazing job.
one more person in touch with their why, Pam, who has graced our Facebook Live events here. Hi, Pam. Thank you for being here. I was chained to a recliner. Couldn't do anything. My why? My health.
You got it. You got
Really
it.
good. I wish I could reflect everyone here, but Shane, thanks for prompting me to look at some of those. That's just great stuff, guys. Just great. Really, really great. All right. So, Crystal, you did what you did. Shane was inspired. He did what he did. And Gary, sorry, we've gone so long without hearing the dulcet tones. Tell us, what about maybe a little bit, I don't know if you can speak a little bit to any of what had you feeling like the ante was up, was time to make some changes. Maybe it was a gradual thing. Maybe it was more of a moment of insight and inspiration, an epiphany. Talk about that. And then also anything that you would say about, watching Shane's experience that had you say, hey, I'm going to give HMR a shot.
I would say probably my main reasoning behind why I got involved to begin with.
Yeah.
I'm a big guy. I'm 6'7", and when I started the program, I was 310 pounds. And I've got a whole slew of grandchildren, and I love my grandchildren just more than I can express. I had a 7-year-old grandson that started taking some karate lessons, and I am retired, and so I started taking him 3 days a week to these karate classes. And he kept saying, "Papa, you need to do this with me. You need to do this with me." And I got talked into it. So I started taking these classes, and I had some problems with my moves, and I knew it was because of my weight. Now the thing is I've tried different things in the past, and I dropped 15, 20 pounds, that I put it right back on. And about 6 months ago, my wife was involved in an automobile accident and I almost lost her.
Ooh.
And she had to go to physical therapy. And so I was taking her back and forth to physical therapy. And I was sitting there one day, and I was a little bit upset because I was sore because of the karate classes. And like I say, I was 67 years old. I'm 68 now. And I just kept struggling with my weight, and it really bothered me.
Sure.
And then I got thinking about Shane. Right, I was just sitting there having some coffee, waiting for my wife to finish up. And I got to thinking about Shane, and Shane has lost a whole lot more weight since I personally saw him last. But I knew he had dropped a whole lot. And so Shane and I used to work together, so I had his phone number in my phone, and I was sitting there, and I just texted him real quick. I said, "Shane," I said, "I need to lose some weight. I've tried different things. It's not working. Do you have any suggestions?" And it was probably within 3 minutes at the most, he sent me this message saying, "Yeah, you got to try this program." And he said, I had some reservations at first. I said, "Well, that sounds pretty good. Can you tell me a little bit about it?" And he said, "Well, it's HMR." And he says, "The place I go to is Baptist Wellstone Center." And I said, that's where I'm at. My wife is here having therapy right now. And so
It was meant to be.
Yeah, we talked a little bit, and I thought my wife was coming, and I said, "Well, I'm going to have to go, but I'm going to check into it the next time I come." And before I could get out the door with my wife, Chuck comes out the door, and he comes over and introduces himself. Shane had gotten a hold of Chuck, and that just brief few minutes of time. So Shane was looking out for me even then. So I was really kind of hesitant in starting the program. And but I jumped into it just like Shane said. And with both of their stories, I'm almost embarrassed to say this, but I guess it's about 3 weeks ago, I had a minor celebration of my own, and I told my wife, I said, "You know what?" I said, "Today I'm overweight. I'm just really happy about it." And she just kind of looked at me, okay, why is that? And I says, because I was obese before this week.
Yep. I knew that. Yep.
And, so,
Total different category.
and the thing is, you know, I still struggle with the program, but the thing is I want the weight loss more than I want the other stuff.
Yeah.
And you talked a little bit earlier about being selfish with your own health.
Mhm.
Things that they told me was you got to get rid of all that stuff in your house. You know, it's going to cause you some problems. My grandchildren live with me. I can't get rid of that stuff. And
Yeah.
so it's kind of a struggle. But the thing is, don't feel bad about putting your own health first, because I'm a better karate student and I'm a better pawpaw now that I've lost some weight. I feel better. And
That's a great point to make.
and grandkids can tell that. And my wife, she's a big supporter. And I have lost about 50 pounds, and I need to lose another 50. But
So Gary, how long have you been in now, Gary? And you're still hardcore phase 1. So for the folks that are just joining us, or just they're thinking about the program. I mean, you're a big dude. You're tall, but you've lost 50 pounds plus in what amount of time?
about 5 months.
Wow, that's remarkable.
And but what I want
How
to
do you
say
feel?
is, don't not put yourself, take care of your health first.
Right.
There's nothing selfish about that, about being there for your family,
Mhm.
about being there for yourselves,
Mhm.
about being there for your grandchildren.
Mhm.
That was the most important thing to me.
Fantastic.
And just really great. I would say probably in the past couple of months, I've had to buy additional clothing because my clothing's gotten big.
Mhm.
And
What a good feeling. That's awesome.
one of the things that I really got excited about, my wife doesn't understand, is I ordered some pants from Amazon. And by the time that they got here, 2 days later, they were too big. That was pretty awesome.
But Gary, that's a horrible problem, Gary.
It is.
You know,
But
when I started
go ahead, I'm sorry.
that orange shirt that I was wearing,
Yeah.
that was a 4X, and I was stretching it out.
Mhm.
So, right now I'm between a large and an extra large, depending on the cut of the shirt. But Rick, I told you this. I didn't tell the other two.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, I
Go it.
was purging my closets and my drawers the other day, and I came across something. I'm like, I got to keep this, and I got to keep it for nothing else than this. So
You ready, guys?
this was Emily's team's T-ball shirt.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rivals the pants.
When I first started the program.
Oh wow. Yeah, you got to
Look
do
at
the
that.
wide
There you
view
go.
for the camera.
There you go.
Wow.
Way back here to show you the whole shirt.
Incredible.
So-
Shane,
It's like a blanket on you now.
have that be your background in the next video.
Yeah, I could have that as an Afghan now.
Unbelievable. So good. Boy,
Well,
Gary.
Gary, I am so happy that I had Chuck chase you down that day in the clinic, and I'm so proud of you and the progress that you've made. And, like I've said from the very beginning, if you need extra support or anything, just reach out to me anytime. Talk down off the ledge, whatever. It just, always here.
The only other thing I want to say is I'm 68, and don't ever feel like you're too old to start, or too old to begin, or too old to change, because it's making a huge difference in not only my life, the quality of my life, but my grandchildren and my children. And I'm just blessed.
Great job, Gary.
Well done. Guys in the
Awesome.
audience, if you like that story, give Gary some love. That is tremendous stuff. Shane, you're getting some compliments on your shirt. Really, really good. Oh, that's just wonderful. Let me recap before we sort of turn the corner here for the final stretch. I don't want this to end, but it will eventually. For anyone who's just joined us, we're talking about starting 2021 strong, whether you're just considering the HMR program. We have 3 very successful people who the unique aspect of this is Crystal here had such success in the program. She losing over 230 pounds. She inspired Shane to join the program. Just you guys didn't know each other. You just saw her story in her video. Shane over 160 pounds or so. And now, Gary, you watched Shane from afar somewhat, and here you are down 50. And that is no small feat, my friend. Do not downplay that. Losing 10 pounds is extraordinary. Not gaining weight over whatever months is extraordinary. So any weight loss is absolutely worth celebrating. And what a great job you've done, Gary. I will say, Gary, I want to come back to one other thing you said, which I think is another pretty big theme here to this whole conversation we're having, which is you sort of detailed this equation of the reasons that you have to be doing what you're doing outweigh the reasons to not make the changes, which is why we take the time to revisit the dark days, or ask all of you who are watching, what were the things that had you say enough is enough? And that's the final straw, and it is time to make some changes. So I'm hoping, I think we're all hoping, right, guys, that people are taking hope from this conversation. You can do things with your weight that you may never have thought possible. And here we have 3 people who are testimony to that. You're going to see more of that through January, starting next week. We hope everyone can join us next week for that episode as well.
Rick,
But not done yet here, guys.
to add to your point, real quick, Rick, I told you that Sharon and I had some happy news. So Sharon Horn, who was on with us a couple of weeks ago,
She was.
Vibrant redhead, just full of life, also like Crystal.
Watch that episode. Go ahead.
We have both now been invited to be health coaches at the Milestone Clinic.
Wow.
That's so awesome. You guys are going to inspire so many people and change so many lives. I just love you and Sharon so much. That's so great.
So we are the newest health educators, going to be doing a phase 1 class apiece. She's going to do an AM and I'm going to do an evening. I actually just signed off from my class tonight to come to be here live with you. So hopefully a few of my classmates are watching, and a few of the students that are the clients are going to be watching. So, if you're watching this after the fact, please continue to comment, because we do go back and read the comments. If you have questions, the questions are answered. So don't feel because you're watching this tomorrow or the next day or next week or next month that somebody's not paying attention and won't get back to you, because they absolutely will. So please comment, like, share, all that good stuff.
Great. And Shane, hopefully you and Sharon can channel that fabulous combination that Rick has, which Crystal, you spoke about, which is, you talked about his compassion and his empathy. So he's got the soft side, but he also said he's got the hard side, which you said you needed.
I did.
That is sort of the formula here at HMR. We get it. We're not judgmental. We're in there with you, but we also know that people need structure to get the weight off. So that's really what we promise here at HMR. And that really sort of brings us to the fast weight loss, which Crystal, you and Shane and I talked about. Both of you in the conversation we had on Monday talked about how important it was for you to be losing weight quickly. So my quick moment of HMR self-promotion, we have now won for the 6th consecutive year the U.S. News and World Report Award for best fast weight loss in the United States. We're so proud of that.
That's so awesome.
Isn't it though? We know the fast weight loss, that's where it's at, because if you don't lose it fast, you don't get to where you want to go, period. And then if you don't lose it in the first place, you can't be keeping it off 4, 5, 10 years later. So can I ask the 3 of you just to talk for a minute? You don't have to belabor it, but why is fast weight loss so important, just from your own experience? Crystal, why don't you start?
Yeah, I think if I hadn't have seen results quickly, I would have quickly become not only disinterested, but disheartened again, right? Here's another thing that I've done and not experienced success, right? So I think that's a big part of it for me, is that quick, it was almost as if I couldn't stop losing the weight once I started. I was on a roll, and it was just so motivating and so encouraging and so exciting. I never wanted to weigh more in my life. Like, I was so excited about every week to go in and weigh. And so that was a huge part of it for me. And I think a big part of what kept me that driving force going.
Yep. The psychology behind fast weight loss cannot be denied. Shane, what would you say to that?
Oh, I agree 100% with what Crystal said. Like I said before, I wasn't able to do a lot of the PA. So the physical activity. So I was not arrogant, but I wanted the diet to show me. You hear all this stuff about it. It's like, well, okay, prove it. So I was doing just the box, staying in the box 100%, the program foods, following the guidelines, but I wasn't really doing the PA because I wasn't able to. First week, I lost 13 pounds. Now, that's not typical, water weight, different things like that. But the next week, I had a substantial loss. The next week, I had a loss. And like Crystal was saying, I mean, you wanted to go check on the scale. How many people want to get on a scale? When you're in that weight loss mode, you want to go and weigh in.
Right.
The accountability is there. That's one of the main driving forces in the HMR program is the accountability. And then, of course, the support. But, secondary to the products, which are fantastic themselves, it's the support and the fast weight loss. And if you wouldn't have the fast weight loss, like Crystal said, you might get bored, you might try something else. You start to feel better.
That's right.
Your intake of the vegetables and everything is so high that you're getting the nutrients that your body really needed and you're detoxing.
Yep.
So it's fantastic. You just feel better.
Yep. Fast, but fast, healthy weight loss. We're not a crash diet. We're not a fad diet. Okay. We're not talking about some extreme thing that's going to compromise your health. It's the opposite. Your nutrition is covered. Just a quick weigh in from Susan. Thank you. I saw my first drop on the scale before my first 24 hours on the program. And then I was over 7 pounds in the next week. Gary, I just did a quick little calculation for you. If I have my math right, you've lost an average of 2.5 pounds per week, just average per week. What would it have been like for you if you were losing 0.5? You'd have to go probably into 2023 to get to where you want to go. Why has fast weight loss supported you to lose this 50 pounds?
If there hadn't been fast weight loss, I wouldn't still be in the program.
That's right.
It's just one of those things you want to, and I think that's true of everybody. You want to see results immediately. As a matter of fact, I was talking to Chuck, and we were going over the price, and I was a little bit hesitant about the price. That's a pretty good chunk for somebody that's retired. I said, how soon am I going to see some results? And he said, you'll see it within 2 weeks. He said, if you don't, he says, then don't do it anymore. He says, then it's not working for you. He says, but if you do what we tell you to do, you'll see weight loss immediately. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'll start tomorrow. He says, no, you go home and you start tonight. You start right now. And haven't stopped.
That's Chuck.
That's Chuck. Pam just weighed in that she lost 60 pounds in 9 months. Got to her goal weight. How many people get to the goal weight out there, guys, when they want to lose 60 pounds or 100 pounds or more than 100 pounds? And it's a rare thing. And it's just so beautiful to be able to see the success people experience in this program. Real quick, because we're running short on time, I'm just wondering, fast weight loss, hopefully people who are not familiar with HMR are convinced that is the way to go if you want to get to where you want to go. What about HMR was different from other approaches that you've tried? Because we have some concepts that are counterintuitive, but nonetheless science-based, purely evidence-based, but they go against contrary opinion. For example, Crystal, the fact that you could actually eat more, not more calories, more food if they're the right foods, and lose more weight. So what would you say, what's different about HMR versus other approaches?
So I think a couple of things. So for me, it was easy, right? There was like 6 things I had to know, and that was it. There was no complicated formulas. I had to have, all these counts that I was doing. It was just easy. The other piece of things, though, is huge, is I was never hungry. Every other thing I had ever tried, I was ravenous all the time, all the time. And with HMR, Chuck said, more is better, more is better. And I didn't really understand that. I said, this is a diet. Why are you telling me to eat more? Because that's the way this works. If you get hungry, that's the enemy, right? Stay full, stay satiated. So that was a big key difference for me with HMR. If I was hungry, I just ate more. I drank another shake. I ate another entree. I had some more vegetables with my meal, right? I just ate more. And it was counterintuitive, like you said, Rick, but it's so effective.
So, Chris, I just want to put a finer point on that for people who aren't familiar with HMR. It sounds like magical poppycock thinking. It's not just eating more to eat more. It's eating more low-calorie foods to not fall into the high-calorie foods where you don't have to eat many of them, but the calories to add up dramatically and slow down your weight loss. You will get filled up with the foods on our plan before the calories add up. So you can be full and still lose weight. So I just wanted to sort of make sure people were clear about that. So Shane or Gary, anything else that you would add? Like what was different about HMR's approach versus past approaches? Shane, why don't you speak to that?
Kind of on the same thing that Crystal said. You could eat. They wanted you to be satisfied, not stuffed, but satisfied. And they, on the Healthy Solutions plan with the fruit and the vegetables, you're getting more of the nutrition that our bodies require. And it made sense to me. If I had been hungry all the time, I probably would not have been, wouldn't have been pleasant to have been around, but I also wouldn't have stuck with the program.
That's right.
So I could have an apple if I wanted an apple. I could have an extra shake if I wanted a shake.
Mm-hmm.
I really didn't do more is better until I hit a plateau. I was a hardcore in the box, but I hit a plateau.
Yep.
And my health coach at the time suggested, I think it was Joya, suggested that have another shake, add a shake, do an extra shake a day and see what happens.
Great.
So I added an extra shake a day and the weight started to come off again. And I was like, this is voodoo. It seems like it because like you said, Rick, it's counterintuitive. You're having more, but you're losing more. Your body's not holding on to those calories. You're burning calories. You're doing more. Just by natural attrition, you're going to move more. The weight came off. I was able to move more. So that was another factor in the fast weight loss.
Great. It's really great. We are proud of the fact that we don't ask people to fight their biology. We like to eat, and we like to eat a lot. It's the most normal thing in the world. Unfortunately, in today's food culture, it equals weight gain. So we don't have you fight your biology. You can eat, and you can eat until, as you say, Shane, you're satisfied and still lose weight. And that's why, as you guys are such great testimonies to, people are able to stay on the plan for as long as they are and lose so much weight. Gary, what else might you add? Is there any, I don't know what dieting experience you've had in the past. Is there anything that you would add to what these guys have said around how HMR is different from other approaches?
Well, I've always tried to do it on my own in the past. And I'd be successful for a little bit and I'd put the weight back on. The thing that's helped me more than anything else is just the structure of the program. Mm-hmm. This is what you need to do. Mm-hmm. And that was it. And the thing is I'm not hungry either. And that's what really surprised me more than anything else. As a matter of fact, I guess I was maybe a month into it and my weight loss had slowed down a little bit and I went in, did the weigh-in, we talked a little bit. And I said, I'm really having a problem because I'm not getting as many calories in as I'm supposed to get in. And they said, well, what's your calorie intake? I said, I'm doing like 1,000 a day. And I said, and at the end of the day, I'm not hungry. I'm just not hungry. And what surprised me was they said, you have got to eat more or else you're not going to lose any weight. And I'm like, Shane, that's voodoo. That doesn't make any sense. And even today, there are days when I've had enough food that I'm not hungry, but I still need a couple more 100 calories in order to meet my minimums. And it's magic. It's just an awesome program. I'm not hungry. I still got cravings. I still crave that good stuff. But once again, it's just a craving. It's not because I am hungry, and I recognize that.
Great. Shane, I'll quote you. What a great problem to have. I need to eat more to keep my weight loss going.
Exactly.
Tremendous.
So-
All right. Well, yeah.
If I could add just one final point, Rick, to why HMR for me, and Crystal, you jump into real quick. I probably would not have joined HMR if there had not been a phase 2. If it had just been the weight loss portion and not teaching us how to maintain in phase 2, I don't know if I would have stuck with the program, because I lost the weight. I felt great. It's like, I got this. No, I don't got this. You really need to, if you're going to do phase 1, lose the weight, you really need to invest the time into phase 2 and learn how to navigate, like Rick said, this food culture that we have to avoid the pitfalls. So
Yeah, I think phase 2 was a big key, that maintenance piece. And for me, I tell people all the time, HMR taught me how to eat again, right? That's exactly what I learned with HMR was how to eat the right way, how to prepare foods the right way, how to choose the right foods to make sure that I have good nutrition and good energy and all those things. And that phase 2 piece is what helped me get there. And without that, I have no doubts I wouldn't have been maintaining for 5 years. So
Beautiful. Shane, thank you for making that plug on phase 2, the healthy lifestyle phase of the program. The weight loss is wonderful. It's a miracle, but if it's temporary, I mean, that's not what we're up to here. We're talking about learning the skills to keep it off. So you guys are both keeping off such extraordinary weight for several years now, right? So
yeah,
over 230 pounds for how many years?
I guess around 5 years now. So it's in April. Yeah. So
And Shane, 150 for how long?
2.5 so far.
2.5. Yeah, just beautiful. All right. Well, I'm going to bring it back to my opening comments, which was the point of this discussion tonight. Here we are, January 2021. You have some people who are out there saying, gee, I need to lose weight and have not decided to do HMR. You have other people who are in the program. Some of you are in phase 1. And this was really an episode designed to give you some motivation and inspiration, the first of a few here in January. Others of you are in phase 2. It might be a matter of just getting a jump start, keeping things going, getting that ball rolling a little bit faster down that highway. I will just ask for, if you are out there watching this and you are considering losing weight with HMR, if I could just ask my guests here for one final comment from your own experience. What would you say to someone considering HMR? Why should they consider doing HMR? Gary, can I start with you on that?
Well, the only thing I can say is if you're considering weight loss, why would you not try it? Why would you not give it a shot? And that's exactly what Chuck said to me. Mm-hmm. If you're serious about it and you're serious about your health, this program is, it's, for me, it's just really heaven sent. I'm not hungry and they're telling me to eat more and I'm losing weight. And one of my big concerns is I'm supposed to start phase 2 next week. And one of my big concerns, like I say, I've always been able to drop 15, 20 pounds, but I always picked it back up. And that was one of my concerns as I was losing the weight that I've lost now is, this is great, but what am I going to do once I hit my peak weight? And the stories and just the examples that we have here in front of us tonight, it just gives me encouragement, gives me hope.
Yes. Stay with the program and we will help you stay in action. And that's usually not the case when people start to gain their weight back. They stop being in action and those old health habits have that gravitational pull. Phase 2 is an insurance policy against people falling into that. Crystal, what would you say to someone who's considering HMR?
just do it. It really is. You're so worth it. You're worth the investment. You are worth the time, the effort, the food preparation, all of those things. That is the one thing I would tell anyone watching this. If you're on the fence and you don't know, it's an investment and I don't know if I can afford it and all those things, right? What I'll tell you is you are worth it. There is nothing more important than your health and living life fully engaged. Just do it. You're worth it. That's my advice.
Beautiful. You are worth it. Absolutely. And you're a better person for others if you do it. Well done. Shane, wrap it up here for us.
I don't know if I can follow those two. I mean, that's just fantastic words of wisdom. I'm signing up tomorrow, you guys. You got me hooked. No, I mean, do it for yourself. Do it for your family. Do it for your long-term health. If you're tired of the diet hamster wheel, if you're tired of yo-yo diets, you know, Rick kind of alluded to that. You lose the weight, you put it back on. You lose the weight, you put it back on. Gary mentioned that. Crystal mentioned that. We've all been through it. You know, if you want something that's going to be structured in phase 1 to help you lose the weight quickly, and then a phase 2 that's going to teach you how to navigate the food culture and how to survive long-term and have a healthier future. I mean, HMR was the one that I chose, and it's worked well for me.
Well said. Great. Well, guys, I have to say it's been a pleasure. It's been a privilege talking to each of you tonight. Thank you so much for your time and for being so generous with sharing your experience before HMR and now in the program as you're working the skills for a healthy lifestyle. I'm going to just say to those of you who are watching, again, thank you for your time tonight. To our regulars, see you next week. It's going to be a great one with Gina and a couple of another 2 impressive guests. Really appreciate your time. Your comments are a huge part of this. So thank you. And with that, we will wish everyone a good night. Thanks, guys. Appreciate
Bye, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, Crystal. Thank you, Gary.
Thank you
Rick.
all.
Best of luck, everyone.